Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the who's in Whoville, I am the Grumpy Vlogger. Day 7, hashtag VEDA. Question of the day is, what was the hardest thing I ever had to do? Well, I'm going to get this out of the way right away because I've done this 4 times and I'm getting tired of doing it. I had to go to the store again. Hardest thing I ever had to do. Well, physically, as I had mentioned earlier in one of the videos, was bucking bales. That was the hardest job I ever had. Now, that was the hardest physical thing I ever had to do. Probably emotionally, the hardest thing I ever had to do, I know it was the hardest thing I ever had to do, was my dad had been in a nursing home for 9 months before he passed away. When we had to put him in there, I made the arrangements that should he pass away, which, you know, it was expected sooner or later. I expected a lot later than it happened, but that they would call me first, then I could notify them, then I could go tell my mother in person. Simply because she'd had a stroke about 1.5 years before, almost 2 years before. And so I wanted, I want to be the one to tell her, because, you know, in case something happened, I could be right there with her instead of them calling on the phone. So the morning he passed away, they called me, and of course I didn't believe it, but then I finally figured it out and, you know, accepted it. Got my son to go with us, and we drove over there, and when we stepped up on her front porch and she saw us walking up, the 3 of us, Judy and I and James, all 3 walking up to her house, she knew what we were there for. And I had to tell her that my dad had passed away about 8:30 that morning, or sometime that morning. They notified me about 8:30, and that was really the hardest thing I think I've ever had to do, telling a parent that their spouse of 40 plus years, 41 years, he was buried on their 41st anniversary, that their husband or their spouse had passed away. And that's got to be one of the hardest things anybody's ever done. Have I done some other things that are hard? Probably. Some of the stuff I did in the military, okay, that was hard to do too. That was some of the things I was in the position to do, that was hard too. But that's, it still doesn't compare, I don't think. In my opinion, it doesn't compare. Because, and I can say truthfully right now, that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do to this point in my life. So anyways, that's said and done. There's one of the things I was first and second off. Okay, second thing, AR Drone Nerd, him and I are in contact now through Skype, and we're going to get together and chat tonight on Skype and try and set up a time when we can get together out by Lake Tenkiller and do some drone flying. So look for that in the near future at some point or another. The next thing, tell all your friends about AR Drone Nerd. He's trying to hit that 50 mark, and last I checked, he was still at 45. So let's get the word out. You know, he's trying to hit 50. Let's see if we can't get him up to 100. You know how big a deal that was for me. And that way he gets his name. And I'm thinking, I don't know if Jim Hightower has got his yet or not. Okay, that looks like an elf. I mean, really, she looked like a real live elf. Her ears aren't pointy enough, but the rest of her, that's a unique little individual. But anyways, I don't know. Just something. She looked like a little elf, really. You know, like off of Lord of the Rings. You know, one of those very pretty young ladies. But anyways, Jim Hightower, I don't know if you've hit 100 yet or not. If you haven't, let's see if we can't get help at home, Jim Hightower, to his 100 mark. And anybody that, you know, subscribes to me, if you've got friends that haven't subscribed to one of these guys that, you know, any of them, Steve Carpenter, any of those guys that subscribe to me, let's get that done. I'm not one of these sub for sub type guys. I don't do that. I don't hold these live shows, you know, and I appreciate the ones that do that, because I've met some really great people on that. But You know, if they're doing something that interests you, or you've met them on, you know, probably if you've already met them on one of the live shows like I have, like Ken Heron's show or 400 AGL. And don't forget, Wednesday night, 400 AGL live at 7:30 Eastern time. I think it's Eastern time. Look for the tweet. Also, I'm on Twitter at LLJU1, I believe. Check my website, grumpyvlogger.info. It will have that information. Any other relevant stuff that I need to talk about? Probably not. I've managed to blow 6 minutes. Question: when did hashtag, the pound sign, you know, when did that become hashtag? When did it quit being the pound sign? That used to stand for the weight of an imperial pound, not a pound sterling as they use in England. So when did we start? We start calling it hashtag? And who came up with the idea to call it hashtag? I mean, I don't know. Anyways, it just goes to show you, you know, once we started using Twitter and our sentences and our conversations only became 160 characters long, we suddenly had to invent new ways of speaking. And that's why this generation can't spell worth a flip. That said and done, I'm the Grumpy Vlogger. Subscribe if you would like. I'd appreciate it. Ring the bell. Check out what I might have linked up here. Check out what I have here or here. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you like. Again, this is day 7 of hashtag VEDA. And I hope you guys like this. Like I said, I am the Grumpy Vlogger. Y'all be nice to each other, okay? I'm out of here. Bye-bye for now.